a screen. Her smile, it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene. In the morning or the night, recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong.
Battles got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feed, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. From the garden green to the concrete wall, Florabella, unstoppable nature's child. Leaves whisper secrets, she's the loudest shout. From the channel buzzing, she never backs out. Seed of strength, through season she grows. In the face of doubt, her spirit glows. Cameras ain't a limit, she branches out. Thorns in her crown, she wears it no doubt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless.
Okay, guys. All right, let me get myself on the screen over here. Oh, hold on. We're in a loop. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you for joining me here tonight. Okay, thank you for joining me. I'm very excited about the piece of literature that we're going to review tonight because not only is it a much needed piece of literature, I think, but I think it's a conversation starter. And I hope that not only is it received that way, but it does open a conversation. Because I feel like when people hear, I'm just gonna say this, I feel like when people hear, hey J Dolph, hey, how you doing today? Thank you for joining me. Thank you for those of you who are also viewing from the clouds. Hey, talking to Kinfolk, thank you so much. Thank you so much, girl. I appreciate it. Um, but thank you to all of you who are currently watching, who are here to review this book with myself. Obviously, this book is written, as you guys can see, by Miss Nicole Allen, aka Nyla. Nyla Says, Growing Vibes. You guys know her by those many names. She is a staple on the YouTube community, especially the Black YouTube community. I'm just going to say that. But specifically in general, as she's made a stomp in many different branches and avenues. She's done the Shirley Strawberry. She did. Um, she's covered Diddy. She's covered so many different cases and things. So I really do think like her idea of like the mammy comes from a very wide perspective, especially as a married woman herself. So I'm very excited to read the book, to review the book. Um, when did she release this book? It was not that long ago. The thing is, I knew it was coming, and then at some point, I was on and off YouTube. Then when I came back, she had released it on her channel, on the Let's Adjust This channel. So I was like, oh my God, have I missed this? Time to review, because I did say when it came out, excuse me, that I was going to not only review but do it on YouTube, hopefully, which I did get the permissions to do. So. Make sure if you guys are interested in reviewing this literature, if you want to see it more in depth, that you do reach out to Miss Nyla Says, because it is her intellectual property. Okay, so but I will be sharing the download links today for people to click and buy the book if they want. Now I also have to preface this: I wanted the digital book, which I believe is part of like the early release, get like so that it's available now. But there is an extended paperback book version that is coming out as well. So if you are more of like a book person, like you like holding the piece of literature that you're reading, then there is an extensive um, paperback version that's coming out. It's going to have a lot more into it than the digital version. But I do think she wanted to get the book out. She wanted to put her concepts out. She wanted to own her concepts. And so here they are, guys. We're going to enjoy them today. Also, though, because this is a body cam psychology and crime review, I'm going to be doing a little bit of connecting, like real world connecting of some of the concepts and how they present in the daily world. Hey, Miss Shiesty Bomb, hello. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. The streets have been hot, right? So thank you so much for choosing to be here on your Saturday evening. But yes, we're going to get into the book, and then we're going to look at some cases and some examples of what I would say. I guess while we're talking, we'll get into some examples of what I would say are some of the mammy terms. Now, like I was saying a few minutes ago, like I really do think that when I'm in spaces and I'm trolling and I'm in chats and I'm, doing my little kiki ADHD troll mode type of thing that I love to do, people think that I'm using the term mammy just to like be disparaging, like to just be rude. But it's like you really have to understand what the term mammy means. And the fact that there's a book that's conceptualizing all this, yeah, I'm here for it. Shiesty Bum says definitely want to read this book. So yeah, as you guys can see, like the name of the book is the Mammy DSM, right? Diagnosing the self-sacrificing woman. And there's something, not only has not like a lot of the core BWE people who had real concepts and weren't really just like trying to gain popularity or be some messy creator or anti-black male. The creators that have had the same message are pretty much saying the same things in their own ways right now about men, about relationships and what they believe about relationships, what they feel like they should get out of relationships, all of it, right? The Mammy DSM talks about how women have been conditioned to move about. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys, when you read the book personally, read the prelogue, because the prelogue is I think it's a very good in-depth explanation of where this like idea of the mammy comes from. right? That people often try to gaslight and be like, well, are you calling? No, that was a term from the slave days. And it's like, no, we know that words and terms change, they evolve, right? Colloquial terms are just terms that really have evolved and changed throughout time. The same thing goes with mammy. Okay, maybe people didn't realize that you may witness a time when little words and phrases that you've used evolve and change and transform. And at that time, mammy was used in a different context, right? When we think about mammy, and every time I see Black women use the term, it's used the same way. So I know that the language has evolved with the culture, with the mindset, with the awakening. It really just has. Hey, what is going on, Boo? I believe this is Sleepy Bee. They changed all the names now to like your actual hashtag. So hey, Sleepy Bee, thanks for joining me today. But yeah, so the term has been updated for a new cultural awareness. Now it might not be all of us, but many of us have evolved our thinking. Right, we understand what a mammy is in present day. Those who try to say, "Oh, you're using slave terms against us," they're being purposely obtuse. They know what we mean by mammy today. And so, thank you so much to Nyla for putting this book together. Excuse me, guys. When dust comes in the chat, I immediately have a reaction. You know, my nostrils start to flare up. I could feel my allergies acting up. So, but yes, we're gonna get into it. And I thank Nyla again for coming with this book. I knew she would be able to put it into words, so I'm very excited to read some of this book. Now we're not gonna read all of it because you guys gotta go out and get the book for yourself, right? This is a cultural book. This is a book that's gonna make waves in Black culture, in YouTube culture for sure, talking point culture, right? And we're definitely going to evolve our thinking as we read some of this. All right. So let me pull the book up here, and I am going to show you guys, because again, this is the digital version, like sort of early release that was given, that was put out. I'm hoping to be able to get you guys like the actual link, but if not, by the time the video ends, it will be in the description, so that you guys can purchase your digital version. Or if you want to do, like, I believe it's still in the early purchase stage, where you can order ahead the paperbacks, which she's having made, guys. This is like literally supporting a Black woman and what she has to offer creatively, intellectually. You know, we're the ones that have to support and drive our own culture. So make sure you guys are supporting when I got the link out there, but I will make sure to have the link. All right, so let me pull up. We're going to start with the book. And I'm just going to show you guys a little bit like the table of contents so you guys know what all is in the book. But I have chapters that I'm going to focus on and that we're going to sort of read through, talk about. This is not going to be your usual, I'm gonna play Instagram Reels for you and we're gonna react. Like this is not that type of stream. We're going to literally dissect and read this book. We're gonna see what terms are being introduced here. Again, guys, this is the digital version, so a paperback version is coming, or it's already in the making, I should say. But I wanted the digital download because I was so excited for it. So we're gonna get into it today, guys. Make sure you do me a favor, hit the like, share, subscribe. You guys know where to find this Grown Woman Vibes, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab her link in a minute, or if any of the mods can grab her link and put it in the chat as well. We have to make sure that we're supporting each other as well. And I'm very excited to be doing this book, right? To be reviewing this book, because you guys know that if somebody needs to be called a mammy, I'm the one. Yeah, I've been the one. I will be the one. All right, to call someone a mammy if that's what they are. But I think sometimes when you have a lot of people gaslighting where the term is coming from, that it begs, and that it's important for us to go back and really break down what we're saying, show how the language has evolved, and really get into it. So I'm gonna share my screen here. This is the digital copy. All right. Let me make sure everything is good. Audio is good. If the audio is good, let me know, guys. We have some bandits in the chat calling people tethers. I don't know why, but we're here to read a book. So obviously, reading is not your forte. You might want to find another place to go and do this. But yeah, yes. All right, guys. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna put a little bit of my background noise. Do this just so we have a little.
Please talk to
For,
someone else, cause I can't talk to bro boy. I can't talk to bro boy.
all right,
I can't talk to bro boys. I can't talk to bro
get
boy.
rid of
I can't talk
that.
to bro boy.
All right. So as you guys know, the name of this book is the MAMMY DSM. All right. Okay. Audio is good. Good. Let me know if like the music is a little overwhelming. This was made by just like a local practicing bandit, so I have to make sure things are professional to use. All right. So the name of the book again, the Mammy DSM, diagnosing the self-sacrificing woman, right? And the reason why a self-sacrificing woman is not a good thing, right? Because what's the people will say, what's the problem with a woman making sacrifices for her family, for the one she loves, da da da, is that it's unrequited, right? Men are not taught to make sacrifices, right, in their relationships. They're meant to find their dream girl, the best girl who's going to take care of them and be the best option. And yes, there are men out there, let's be real, there are men out there who are the exception, right? They're taught manhood, chivalry, but the majority of men are not being socialized to believe that they have to bring some sort of emotional stability or benefit to a woman outside of like financial, or if not financial, like um, sexual or something like that, right? Men basically, there's very limited um, standards that are actually put on men in terms of what they should bring to a marriage. Hey, Ase, thank you for coming today. Shacey Bum says, I actually feel the term applies to a lot of black women, unfortunately. Yeah, Shacey Bum, the thing that I've come to realize is that we specifically have been socialized that way. And not just, I haven't just come to this on my own random thoughts, right? I've um I've started to my people have brought it to my awareness. I discovered a lot of channels and content creators, and they broke it down. Like at first I was like, I'm telling you guys, there were certain things that I heard on here and I was like, "Oh no, that's too much. What's wrong with loving on a man?" Listen, a lot of us had to recover from mammy mindsets, mammy programming, okay, mammy understanding, and we still every now and then have to break out of a mammy matrix, right? Because that's what we've been offered. That's what's been socialized in black culture. People can say it or not say it. That's what has happened, right? We've been given this understanding of black love and the black man and the establishment, and this is what the white man is trying to do to you. Oh, the white man threw your baby in an alligator. And don't get me wrong, a lot of that stuff is, that's real, that happened, but we're so far removed from it, right? To where this day and age, we should be holding ourselves, men and women, black men and women, should be holding ourselves to a really high standard, right? Our ancestors, like they like to say, fought super hard for us to have this privilege. But now that we do have this privilege, it's almost like we're dropping the ball, right? Women are still carrying the burden in the black community, right? They're the ones working, raising their families, trying to keep the family unit together, being the supportive, being playing the mother and father role. Like that's still a thing, right? To say that this is what was conditioned into black people or the black culture in times of slavery, okay. But how far removed do we have to get before we start actually holding ourselves to some standard, to some accountability, taking responsibility for the community, right? That's a lot of what mammying buffers, right? Mammying doesn't allow women to hold men really accountable for the community, for their families, to step up, right? There's a lot of what I noticed, especially when I was looking at a lot of different crime on body cam. You guys have to understand. Body cam is wide range. They get all types of crimes, everything that happens. When you start seeing a pattern and theme with situations in the black culture, you start to understand. So many of the body cams that you see women in a situation where, they're paying all the bills, but the guy's mad. He's beating on her. He's staying in her house rent free. He's starting trouble. Whatever it is, like I'm telling you guys, mamming permeates throughout everything. So really you have to diagnose it, right? We have to be very aware of what it is to fight it, because it permeates so much in the community, in the culture. You hear conversation like back in the day, I would never hear some of the conversations I hear and have a problem with it. Nowadays, I'm hearing like shows where Angela Yee, all these people of these black cultures are like making excuses for like the most degenerate things, normalizing degenerate behavior, calling it black, and I'm just like, this is not funny anymore. Like what we're doing is not funny. How Meg the Stallion was attacked, not funny. The whole community after somebody who was very obviously abused, right? This is mammying is like this overarching thing that has a chokehold on the entire community, because it does impact the whole community. It impacts women, obviously children, because the children are left with the women. It impacts men, because if they're not being raised by fathers, the men aren't taking their responsibility in the community. What are we getting? A bunch of grown babies who are mentally scarred, who have a depraved nature, who haven't healed, who are anti-black internally. I mean, mammying is this overarching concept to me, right? So, I really am very excited to get into the book. Ase says a local bandit. Shiesty says we're definitely in a mammy crisis. Yeah, a bad one. It's bad. So this book is really important, right? So obviously this book was made by Miss Nicole Allen. You guys know that's Nyla La. Okay. Um, Robin M says, I think mammies are also women who consistently attack other women but do nothing when men attack them. Yeah, and like there's a lot of examples of that, right? That those are women who a lot of the time will come in defense of men that they've had bad relationships with, just because, right? Because they feel like they want to protect or help a black man. They will speak of their character and be like, oh, he's a good man. Where'd that term come from? He's a good man, Savannah, right? All right, let's get into the table of contents. All right, the MAMMY DSM. And truly, this is a diagnostic material. We really need it. We really, really need it. What we're seeing in the community is not normal, it's not healthy. We shouldn't want to continue it. We really, truly should want to evolve. And I think the first step towards evolving is having the conversation. I've seen mammies calling out mammies lately. It's weird as hell. Yeah, because everyone's confused, Robin. This is like the whole LGBT thing, right? Where everyone is confused. And like when it comes to mammying, the word is thrown out so much. I'm truly saying it. Like I feel like I'm part of the problem. The word mammy is thrown out so much that like people are just confused now. They're just mixing it all up, funging it all up, using it as a manipulative factor. Hey, Lana Love. Some people use the word and don't even realize they're a. Listen, sometimes it be like that, right? But if she's valid in the mammy that she's calling out, it's still valid. It's just kind of like, okay, all right, but you're a mammy too. So we're in a mammy crisis, right? That's essentially what's going on. But we're gonna keep it kosher, right, guys? Because I'm not being sarcastic. Like seriously, I don't want anyone to think that that's my belief or that's how I'm positing this. I truly think being a mammy and like this mammy culture is a problem. All right, so there's obviously some pages before we get into the chapters, which I think it's important. Maybe some people need a little bit more background information on where it comes, especially if you think that when black women use the term mammy, that we're like using a racial or a post-slavery racial term or whatever. Definitely read the cultural commentary, the prologue, and just sort of where this whole mammying concept comes from, because it does come from somewhere. All right. But some of the chapters we have here, we have what is mammying, the origins of the mammy mindset. That's chapter 2. Chapter 3, the mammy taxonomy, breaking down the types, right? Because there really is a typology. Right? To mammies, there's a typology. There's a, um, what can I say? There's like an archetype that you're gonna see in the mammy, like the a way that they present their behaviors, and she kind of breaks that all down really good. The fourth chapter is the overt mammy, right? So we start getting into some of those taxonomies, the types. We have the covert mammy. So the overt mammy is the proud defender of black men. The one who goes out there and protests and has her cape on, and she's like, protect black men from the police. I gotta get my brothers. I gotta keep my brothers. Those are the exaggerated mules who wear the Black Lives Matter t-shirts wherever they go, to dinner, to weddings, to business meeting. They got Black Lives Matter paraphernalia everywhere. All right. Let's see here. What some more chapters we have? We have the covert mammy, which is the quiet enabler, and this is what I'll say that I see more so on the digital sphere, right? These are the ones who will come in. They'll make excuses. They'll play the troll game. They'll be like, "Oh no, this bandit is actually he's actually legit here." They'll make excuses for all the degeneracy that they do because it's entertaining, right? Or they're just enablers. They're used to this degeneracy and they feed off of it, right? It's like a drama thing. Um, Ase says, I think boomers and early Gen X teach their daughters to be mammies. Late Gen X and millennials do not. Late Gen X and millennials do not. I definitely think the mammy mindset started to break down amongst that generation for sure, right? Especially you have a lot of devastations that happened in that era. You have the crack epidemic. You have like specifically a lot of fatherless homes being developed now. So now we go from 70, I think it was like 68% marriage rate that black women had. It was actually higher than any other group before a certain period. And then after that, and again, marriage rates were based off of being legally married. So even if the man had took off, at some point, black women were more married than other groups. And then it sort of flipped, right? So obviously, I think there was like some sort of awakening. I do think as a millennial that our parents, my parent, my family, the people, women before me, and I'm not even just gonna highlight my family, but the women before me especially were like, ooh, definitely don't give everything up for this man, for any man, right? Get your education, get your money, become self-sufficient, do all that. And that same message came from our fathers at that time too. So yeah, I can definitely see this. I'm here to troll the dusty men with struggling beards and booty noses. Booty noses? What is a booty? What the hell is a booty nose, Skip Jones? You got to tell me what that is. You and Sin got me saying bandit all the time. I'm gonna give Sin her credit. When she first said bandit, I thought that was the funniest thing ever. It was hilarious. Um, um, the front porch says, "Hey girl, hey, what is going on, boo? You just reminded me of gardening. You made me want to garden. How are you doing? Hey, Black Beauty." Oh yeah, you've definitely been around, and you were in Nyla's chat, and you used to listen to all those conversations about the Mammy DSM. So I'm very excited that she dropped this book. Now these are all the chapters. I'll read them all for you guys, but I'm not reading them all, like reading them all today. I am approved to read a little bit, so we're gonna get into some chapters, the ones that I like the best, that I thought were the most interesting, at least on first glance, because there's so many. These are all the chapters. So we had the covert mammy, chapter 5. Chapter 6, the malignant mammy. She's the attack dog. We have the hyper vigilant mammy. She's the aggressive protector, right? And those are obviously the mammies they're going to be very violent towards other women. They're going to be very masculine towards other women. We have the damsel mammy. She's the one who pretends to be submissive and fit and friendly and just to do everything that a man says because she thinks that will gain her favor and what she wants. Right? We have the sexual mammy. She's the femininity hustler. So she's the one who is teaching mammies how to present a certain way and be seductive and get a man and pick up a man type of stuff. I say this is a super chat sponsor. I'm not gonna lie, that cracked me up. That really cracked me up. The financial mammy. This is the super chat sponsor. Yes, guys, this is a real thing. This is the mammies who operate online. They're part and they become ingratiated in these communities with men. They really, really get involved in their communities and spend money as a way to get picked for have people support them and like them and things like that, especially the men. Pygmies are mammy embryos. Yes, they are. They are. We have the masculine mammy. This is the toxic mirror. The traditional mammy. She's the big mama martyr. She gives everything up for everybody. Don't live or have no fun or do nothing because she's giving everything up for her family. Right, that one. We have the struggle mammy. This is the ride or die mammy. She will stick by the man until the wheels falls off. She don't care if he don't got no money. She don't care if he got 10 kids that ain't hers. She don't care if he beat on her. She don't care if he makes her work while he sits at home playing video games and eating up all the food stamps. She don't care if he's on disability. She don't care. She will ride or die with him no matter what. We have the survivor mammy. She's the trauma apologist. She just blames. She Robin, your comments can crack me up. I'm not trying to be funny, but this is real. Like, you guys think this is a joke. When I start getting into this book, y'all are gonna be shook. Okay, but please stop the child to mammy pop pipeline. Listen, when you're socializing black girls to see themselves and their role a certain way in the community, yeah, that pipeline is strong. I see it. I see. I know a woman, guys. She's probably not gonna be watching this, but I know a woman who she is a CNA. She got 7 kids by one gang banging bandit. Okay, and her daughter is like 18 or 19, and that little girl just had her first baby, and she's had like with some gang banging street nigga as well. And it's seriously, it's a pipeline. It's a pipeline, and I don't understand what the motivation is to do that. It's like some people are on autopilot. Their generational curses are on autopilot. They're just doing and doing and doing. They're having a bunch of kids that they can't handle, and just repeating the cycle, doing the same old thing that their bloodline has been repeating for years and years and years. And it's really disturbing, honestly. These titles are going to have you guys in the chokehold. We have the divestment mammy. She becomes the white male worshiper, right? So instead of just becoming a self-sufficient woman and understanding that men in general need limits set, that you have to assert yourself and have standards, or any man will take advantage of you, black or white. These ones, they just hyper focus on the white man. So instead of riding the nutsack of black men and everything that they do and say, they just bring that right over to the white man. Right? We have the poly mammy. This is the feminist turned patriarch. Right? She adopts the beliefs and understanding of the man. It was a spiritual mammy, the wolf and empowerment schools. Right? This spiritual mammy is encouraging women to drop their male identified and male centered thinking and lifestyles. But right underneath that, she's being vile and rude about it. She's not really trying to uplift women and offer other spiritual outlets. She's just sort of pretending to be like, it's like toxic positivity. That's from my perspective. I'm not explaining what's in the book. I'm just saying from some of the titles, so you guys can get an idea of what's in the book. We have the unaware mammy. She's the climbing mammy mountain. Right. This is the one who really is brainwashed. They believe that's their duty, to put men's wants and needs before their own. the mammy toll, the cost of sacrifice. So this is like, I think we're sort of getting a little bit more into how to understand the negatives of this, right? This is the cost, what mammying actually does to women, right? What the outcomes are of women who choose to be mammies, whatever mammy they choose to be. Then we have the Sacred Rebellion. This is chapter 20, choosing yourself first. So this is offering an alternative, a mindset. I do think that when Nyla always conceptualized this, she tried to offer solutions to help people break through from these mindsets. But ultimately, it's up to you. Ase says, my daughters are 28, 26, and 20. They ain't going. Listen, they're lucky. I do think a lot of the young girls are lucky that they weren't socialized this way because, whew, when I tell you this is a bullet train to hell to be a mammy, it really is. And then we have the breaking free, which is the recovery plan, and then she has chapter 2, deletion of the mammy, lying the archetype to rest, and this is where women start to actually um, love and you know uplift themselves, choose themselves, and things like that. So I think this will be a very good book that you guys will enjoy, that you guys will be able to reference later, um, that will have some good concepts that you can take away from it that you can learn. But we are going to get into it, guys, because I want to cover specifically certain parts of the book and get into the concept of the mammy, because this isn't just a term that I use to insult women or to degrade women. I'm not one of those people who gets on here like that. But I will say that when I see somebody being a mammy, it's very frustrating, because I know what it means for other women. I know how dangerous of a mindset it is. And I know that it's rooted in male worship. So, all right, so this is chapter 1 of the Mammy DSM. So, guys, do me a favor really quickly if you're here with me, if you're enjoying the show, to like, share, subscribe. Um, Make sure that you guys, sorry, I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger. Oop, too big. Maybe this is best. So, even if you guys can't see it like too clearly, you should be able to see it. I don't know why it's coming across like this, but I'm going to read it anyways. So this is chapter 1. Welcome to the Mammy DSM. So, definition and summary. This work is not anti-black man. Let's be clear, we love our brothers. This book is not an attack, it's a boundary. We're not moving in hate, we are standing in self-protection. This is a pro-black woman text. And I love that because really, since the civil rights era, let's be real, since the civil rights era and since all that was going down at that time, there really hasn't been a heavy focus on pro-black woman ideology. There hasn't been strong black women leaders or anything like that. Do you have a link for the book? Yes, I'm gonna make sure I grab it. Sorry, I know I have it in my email. It is available for purchase. I'm gonna pull my email up, um, and get it to you guys because that was the goal. I did mention if I'm not able to get into my email and get it now, oh, if I'm not able to get into my email and get it now, that it will definitely be in the description of this video. So, worry not, my friends, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you know what? I know where it is. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I know I had it, but I have a little bit of an issue. So, hold on. But I have a minute. I'm gonna make sure to because I want to make sure I get you guys the right link specifically. Because I know when I was trying to get it, I accidentally almost grabbed the wrong thing. So I don't want to do that. Um, Sorry, I'm gonna play some music, but I do want to make sure I leave the link at least in the description, if not in the chat. So,
Battles got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feed, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. From the garden green to the concrete wall, Florabella, unstoppable nature's child. Leaves whisper secrets, she's the loudest shout. From the channel buzzing, she never backs out. Seed of strength, through season she grows. In the face of doubt, her spirit glows. Cameras ain't a limit, she branches out. Thorns in her crown, she wears it no doubt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless.
All right, I'm gonna make sure to get you guys the right link. I'm working on it. So just bear with me. It'll definitely be in the description of the video. By the time this video is over, even if I have to do it from my phone, because that is originally where I was looking at it. So just bear with me. All right, we're gonna get into the book. So again, this is not an anti-Black man text. This is simply a boundary. That's what she's stating here. We're not moving in hate. We are standing in self-protection. This is a pro-Black woman text. Our goal is not to destroy the image of Black men, but to liberate Black women from the chronic self-abandonment that's been packaged as love, loyalty, and legacy. If we want stronger communities, we need stronger women, and that starts with truth. A mammy is any woman who consistently prioritizes the well-being, image, and success of Black men, often at her own expense and to the detriment of other Black women. The MAMMY DSM exists to name, deconstruct, and help Black women detach from toxic, male-centered social programming, which is a really big issue, guys. I think that's a really good definition for what all it is that we're going to be talking about today, right? A mammy truly is somebody who puts the imagery of the man, specifically the Black man, above her own, right? Especially at her own expense and the expense of other Black women. We mentioned specifically other Black women here, but I think this sort of applies to women in general, because you'll find that the mammy doesn't value womanhood, right? She doesn't like the womanhood. She doesn't like being part of womanhood or having womanhood. She sees it as a negative thing. She's let men brainwash her into thinking the sisterhood is a bad thing, as if women having positive community together is a bad thing. You know, it's not. But that's the mindset that a mammy has. All right. The MAMMY DSM exists to name, deconstruct, and help Black women detach from toxic, male-centered social programming. This is a big issue that I think, I see it a lot. I see it with how Meg Thee Stallion is being treated. I see it with how Black women, Black celebrities, Black women in general, that I see in media and how they're treated, especially when they have issues with Black men. You've seen how the excuses that a lot of mammies and specifically bandits make for situations of bandits like 50 Cent, Brian McKnight, a lot of those Black men, Tyrese, which Tyrese actually recently reunited with his daughter, but specifically the others that I mentioned, they had very negative relationships with their children. Like, look at 50 Cent. His son is a complete twin of his, but he somehow convinced Black men and Black women that it's the mother's fault that he doesn't have a healthy relationship with his son, right? And that's something that mammies have bought into. Black Beauty said that's the best definition that I've heard. Yeah, because it's so all encompassing, right? Who consistently prioritizes the well being, image, and success of Black white men, often at her own expense and to the detriment of Black women. That's essentially what it all comes down to. That's what a mammy does, right? The reason why a lot of people say that a mammy is dangerous is because she doesn't care about the well being of women or children or young girls. She doesn't care. Their well being doesn't matter, right? They have to uplift the Black man. A lot of what you see with the R. Kelly situation, right? Because he's this supposed megastar R&B star, right? They want to uplift him, regardless of the fact that he actually assaulted lots of young women, lots of young girls. Yes, their families were in some ways complicit with him having access to their daughters, but they would rather blame the parents and them and other family members for what happened to the girls than to acknowledge what R. Kelly did. That is a mammying, an example of being a mammy, specifically for a celebrity. But you'll see that a lot of the time, especially with the Meg Thee Stallion case. You have her suing Milagro because she supposedly took $3,000, which I don't think is enough to technically slander somebody. But she took $3,000 to basically attack the image of Meg Thee Stallion after she was literally shot at, which a bullet ricocheted into her foot is still being shot at. Um, People pretty much turn that whole situation against her and act like she destroyed Tory Lanez, right? The women who have that mindset are mammies. Ase says religion aids in this nonsense. Yes, it does. It's a literal pipeline, right? Religion excuses all that men do and weaponizes women for making their own choices, for choosing not to self sacrifice, for separating from this mindset and culture. So, definitely, I agree with that. All right. So the core traits of a mammy are overgiving. They're emotionally invested in protecting men. So this is where sort of what you see online, where they'll be on these panels or in these chat boxes arguing up and down with each other about this and saying, "Oh, R. Kelly is this. He was innocent. He was assaulted, and he only became that way because somebody hurt him." And yeah, those are that's what you see, right? These women getting over involved, sending paragraphs in defense of Bill Cosby and other degenerate Black male celebrities, right? Because that's the mammy core. They have to protect men. They're dismissive of women's pain. So when women say, "Oh, the man cheated and he harmed me," or not even harmed physically, but he emotionally abused me, he's emotionally was neglectful, he was unfaithful, he was cold and distant, that woman will minimize that and say, "Well, that's a man. They have a lot on their shoulders. That's what they have to deal with. And what you had to deal with was just what you had to deal with. You should have took your place. You should have been his protector. You should have held him up. You should have held him down. You should have ride or die." They just don't stop, right? That's the dismissiveness. They seek validation from male approval. These are people who often go into performance mode when they're around men. When men are on a panel or when men are part of the conversation, you see them, they start twerking and flipping and reversing it for men to get men's approval, right? How this plays out in the online sphere. I'm just showing this because this is where you'll a lot of times hear this context. You don't hear people saying, "Oh, you're a mammy" to each other in real life. And I think I missed you, but hey, Lord ADS, what is going on? Happy Saturday. I hope you're doing good. But you'll often hear that. You'll see them acting out when the men are on the panel, or when men on the panel they start talking about how submissive and fit and friendly and kind and docile and quiet a woman should be, right? Those are mammies. That's the traits that they have. They need men to approve of them. They believe Black men are exempt from accountability. A lot of times they'll say, "Oh, the white man wants to take the Black man down. It's too hard for the Black man. The Black man is under attack. The white man believes the strength of the Black man is too much. He gotta take his job. He gotta take his food stamp. He gotta take his Section 8." And they just have so many excuses for Black men. Black men can never hold their own or be accountable. right? They always have to have some sort of excuse or some out, usually related to the white man. Right, so the root causes of this are slavery era conditioning. Believe it or not, because generational curses are being passed down over and over again, and the cycle is not being broken, and people are continuing to perpetuate these mindsets. Unfortunately, this slavery conditioning is still slipping in to our mindsets today, right? I'll say, just mentioned it, religious indoctrination, right? Christianity and these whitewashed Catholic and Christian traditions, they're the ones who are. I'm sorry, guys. This chair needs WD-40. Like, look at it. But Christians and Christianity, Catholicism, they're the ones that sort of teach these mindsets of being submissive and docile to men, and allowing for men in their beliefs and their wants and needs to be at the forefront. We have generational teachings, which I think goes into slavery era conditioning and religious indoctrination, because if these are generational practices, if these are things that have been going on and have been being passed down for generations, then that's what it is, right? This is literally the same thing. We have media manipulation as well. People like Tyler Perry, other very popular detrimental figures that present Black people, Black women in these ways of being sacrificing, of giving everything up and making every sacrifice needed to take care of their families and their children's and their mans and everything, pretty much carrying everything on their own two shoulders, right? That's a lot of where the root causes come from. So we have some pop culture references here. We have the classic Mammy, which is the Aunt Jemima imagery. You know, the one that's in the kitchen making up the 90 people breakfast. You know, she has the Sunday dinner. We have Hattie McDaniel in Gone with the Wind. We have the modern Mammy, which is characters like Sally from The Color Purple, and Shahrazad Ali, who literally said that she believes that Black women do not age mentally above the age of 15 or 14, something like that, right? That mindset could only come from a Mammy, right? To not think that women evolve mentally above 15 years old, specifically Black women. So, yeah. We have celebrity examples of women like Monique. Monique has done some very controversial things and has said controversial things about the role of women. I do believe because she's fat that she feels like she has to earn a man, and so that plays into how she. I think a lot of her, and I'm not saying she's fat to degrade her. I think that thing that she thinks is a flaw is a reason why she thinks she has to accept certain things from a man. And I think that if she maybe wasn't like that, that she might be a little bit more clear-headed about um, some of the stuff she says. Like she says, "Oh, like the whole daddy thing," and like it was so weird how she behaved. And I do truly think a lot of that is self-esteem. I think that maybe she didn't love herself, and so she felt like she's supposed to take whatever type of man. We have Oprah, who's actually she has on the books financially supported a lot of ex-cons and men who have lived, bad past lives. So she's one. She said, "I thought I was the only one that thought that about." Um, Maybe I should have kept that thought to myself. But I'm trying to tell you, I do think like the ultra big girls, like the girls who are, um, they just feel like they have to accept whatever. They feel like, okay, I'm big, so I have to be this way in order to keep a man. And I think they hold on to a little bit more desperately because of that, what they consider to be a physical flaw. But that doesn't mean that I don't know big girls who know their worth. So, this is some beautiful imagery here. um, Real life situations or case studies. So this is examples of the mammies, right? They're women who defend abusive partners. We see that a lot, right? We see a lot of men who like have come up lately and said, "Oh well, Well, did he kicking and stomping on Cassie? That was for a reason. You know, Cassie was taking something from him, and he was just so fed up of her behind. And so, yes, he had to stomp on her, right? There are women who will co-sign that belief. They'll be like, "Yep, the reason why is because she was involved." Women who defend the pastor in the church, even though she knows better. This is women who specifically know that their pastor is sleeping around. You got a bunch of baby mamas in the church. You got a wife. He's just not an honorable man, right? This is women who downplay or ignore women specific issues like FGM, DB, and femicide. Right? This is women who be like, oh, these things are not that common. They're so rare. This doesn't happen that much. This is like when women talk about this, that they're just trying to gaslight men. Right? There's literally women who will say that. There's women who attack other women for simply dating or being married to a man, right? So there's that mindset that like, okay, so if you like men, then you know, you're a mammy, or you're wrong. You shouldn't like men. They're all evil and terrible. You hate them, and because you like a man and you're attached to one, you're evil now as well. Women who verbally or physically attack other women over a man, or to gain favor with a man. This is I have okay. So I'm gonna. This is a perfect time to insert real life example, right? This is an example here that I'm gonna show you guys. A situation where a woman who works at. I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna ruin it nice and early. At the end, both of them go to jail. But this woman who works at a hospital, she's a nurse. Her husband has a mistress, and that mistress actually shows up to the woman's job, attacks her, snatches the wig off of her, busts her lip open. I mean, really goes hard in this situation. So we're gonna take a little visual intermission, and do like a actual case study demonstration of what this sort of looks like, what this type of mammy really looks like. All right, let me change the view so you guys can really see this. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. This is the moment the police arrive to the hospital. Obviously, once a fight breaks out like this, the first thing they try to do is understand what's kind of going on from both sides. So when the cop gets there, he's talking. This is the mistress of the husband. We're gonna find out. Um, Ase says, I tend to see morbidly obese women who take on the mammy mentality. Of course, not all, but yeah. Or like when you see like really, really, really dark black women who are always talking about, oh, black women need to be more natural and they gotta stop using makeup and lashes and pretending to be white. And yeah, you'll see that a lot as well. So, all right, let's get into this video here. Okay, this woman showed up to the hospital essentially to fight her. She's the side chick, but he showed up to fight her nigga's wife. Okay, so let's get into it.
She spit on me first. And I said, cut it out. If you look at the camera, I'm holding it down. I said, would you cut it out?
What's up with the blood on your shirt?
On October 29th, 2023, in Illinois, officers responded to a call from a hospital where a woman's husband's mistress showed up and caused a conflict over the man.
What's going on? So she said that she was coming down. Hi. Come on.
So as you can see, they're blurring out these body cam now to like protect the staff and people who are involved. Because really, just because you're working somewhere where a bunch of people are squabbling over a man, you shouldn't have to be in this body cam. So that's the blur that we're seeing here, but they're talking to hospital staff, other people that were witness to what was going on.
I'm coming into work, and this woman, Nicole, that my husband been sleeping with, is coming out. She started laughing. I'm like, you a clown, what's funny? She was like, not as clown as you. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, you know what, because I see now your fault, you keep it up with where I'm at. So I called my husband, like, get her, why is she up here? Why is she up here? He like, Val, just go back to work, just let her be. She started talking crazy because I got him on the phone. So we get to arguing. My husband like, just go. She like, no, I'm gonna make this bitch lose everything. She been trying to make me, like, when she thought I worked at the nursing home, she tried to say.
So I don't know if you heard her, but she's right next to hospital staff. That's why it's blurred out. But she said the woman told her, "I'm gonna make this B lose everything." Right? So she literally went there with the intention of attacking this woman. Now she's gonna say she has another story for being there, which is not gonna pan out because the person she says she's there for is no longer in the hospital. So let's continue.
My order of protection there, but she didn't know I had started back working here. So I'm like, what you mean you gonna make me lose everything? So she kept saying it. Then all of a sudden she swung. So I swung back. She grabbed my hair, my wig that I had on, snatched my wig off, started hitting me. So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna sit here and just let you beat me in my damn face.
And this happened in the parking lot?
And that's the thing too, like to have that much vitriol, and the only thing that they have in common is a man that they both like. I guess I wouldn't like this man anymore if he brought this ratchet woman into my life. She mentions, you're gonna hear mention of a protection order. So obviously he's brought a problem into her life because the woman who came to fight her at the hospital has a protection order against her. Right? So this is a messy marriage and a messy man in general. I keep seeing this video on my timeline, but it never clicked it. Yeah, I haven't seen this one. I have seen it I've seen like previews of it on YouTube like recently, but not until I was like recently looking at body cam. Growing processes. I didn't know you had a channel, Flora. Thank you so much. Thanks for visiting. I appreciate you guys coming to watch the video. Obviously I like to relate my content back to crime, psychology, and all of that. So I'm making sure to show you guys some real life examples of this. All right. The fact that any woman would show up at her boyfriend's wife's job, right? Sounds crazy because why would your boyfriend have a wife? But the fact that you would show up at her job to fight her, you have no legitimate reason for being there. It's just crazy. Like that's a perfect example of a mammy. How you coming to fight me about my husband? Listen, when her husband is for the streets, he's for the highways. So it's kind of like difficult because this woman, his wife, she did she expect this woman to come fight her? Has she already been dealing with this? Obviously, there's a protection order that was put against her because she probably fought her already. But why would this woman come to her job now? It just doesn't make any sense at all. Makes no sense. So, all right. Hey, Sleepy Bee. All right, let's continue. I'm gonna play some more of this video.
No, I have to right here in the hallway.
Oh, wait, okay.
Are you clocked in already?
Where is
Yeah, I
she
just
already?
talked to him.
Where's she at?
She's in the.
I don't know where she's at.
Crescent 510. I did not know he was going home. Listen.
Yeah.
So anywho, I was talking to the nurses and they were looking him up. They couldn't find him, so I called my grandpa on his cell phone. He said, "Oh, I'm at home." I said, "I didn't know you were at home." He said, "Okay." So I said, "I'm on my way." So I'm coming around the corner, coming around too, and she was like, "Why you at my job, ho?" I was like, "What are you talking about?"
This is
Yeah, the nurse.
Okay.
She was like, "Why you at my job, ho?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" So she starts doing this, squeezing in front of her face. See if y'all, she ugly, She's doing this in my face. I said, "Get that out of my face." So she's still doing this. So I did this. I said, "Get that out of my face." So then she started attacking me. I didn't want to get in any more confrontation because I already got an order on her.
order
And so-
protection?
yes, order of protection. So
What's your last name?
that's a night.
And then what's your first? And then date of birth? And then what's the phone number for you?
I live in Washington.
What's the address there?
I'm just going to say this is really embarrassing to say that you have a protection order against your boyfriend's wife. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, this isn't even a healthy side chick situation. He's putting you in physical danger to the point you need to get a protection order. Why would you even fight about this man? That's the situation he's putting the both of you in. Right? It's very weird, very mammy-ish. All right. So let me get back to some of the book. Right? There are women who verbally or physically attack other women over a man or to gain favor with a man. Women on social media making excuses for the redundant examples of anti-woman hate. These are women who will get up here and be like, "Oh yeah, why are you wearing wigs? Why are you wearing makeup? Why are you trying to pretend that you're something else?" Or if you're brown skin and you use makeup of your color, they're gonna be like, "Why are you pretending you're being white? Why are you trying to be light skinned? Why don't you just be yourself? You obviously don't love yourself. typical bandit talking points that they'll adapt. All right. Um, Even though every other group of women, especially the ones that they love to uplift, use wake up and weave and all types of things as well. There are women who sleep with other women's men knowing that he has a woman, right? They'll feel special. That's a mammy for sure, right? Definitely. Oblivious and acting oblivious is not cute. Not at all. Not at all. Okay. Women defending celebrities like R. Kelly, Hugh Hefner, Bill Cosby, P. Diddy, and Harvey Weinstein. Women defending any man with the primary purpose of garnering favor with other men. These are women who you'll see, like, you guys will see these women online, in chats, maybe even in real life, defending abusive weirdos. Maybe they have a friend or family member who's a degenerate, and instead of calling them out when they're acting up, they make excuses and they coddle them. Right? That's a lot of what you'll see with that. Um, Women who sacrifice themselves in any way for men who could care less about them. Like, these are women who will get online and swing and support for men who, especially black women, who will get online and support men who don't even like black women. I one time saw a mammy who has a very strong chin spending, at least claiming to spend on the channel like $500 for a content creator that said that she looked like a transgender. Okay, I'm just saying. But obviously I've heard that there's some schemes with these channels where they pretend to send each other money and then send it back to each other later. So I don't know if that really happened, but it appeared that it was in order to get attention and appear like the more wealthy woman. Right? So this is women who attack other women for the purposes of garnering favor with men. Consequences of mamming are financial, emotional, and spiritual depletion. Right? A lot of the times, a mammy will leave a situation with a bandit or somebody who was essentially using her as a lamb, with less money, being emotionally and spiritually depleted. So they'll have a lot of hormonal gain weight, cortisol in their body. Their life situation will start to deteriorate. Maybe they'll lose a job, money, financial situation will get worse. They'll be isolated from their peer and friends. That's what happens when people mammy. They have low self-esteem and low worth. Low self-worth because these men are not actually offering anything, right? They just want to use you in order to prove their points. They fall into a cycle of loneliness while uplifting men in hopes that one will hear them. So you'll find these are women who stick around for years, hoping that a man that they're mammying for is ever going to pay them attention or want them, right? They're forced to lead with sex because men see them as easy prey. The unfair silencing and betrayal of other women. So they will specifically be very derogative and aggressive with other women. They will not want other women to speak up for themselves. They'll put other women in bad, negative situations or present them in a negative light. Right? That's the consequence. Um, and reinforcement of toxic masculinity. So when women specifically adopt these mindsets, they're kind of showing to other women that these mindsets lead, right? Because if other women who don't benefit from this will speak about it like it's a positive thing, then they'll be convincing women who disagree that, okay, maybe I am seeing it wrong. Maybe I do need to suck it up and try to understand it from the men's perspective, and that's a harmful thing. Dependency on men for acknowledgement, validation, and acceptance. This is somebody who can't, or these are people who are, they end up not being able to just feel satisfied with who they are, right? They need men to tell them, oh, you're beautiful, oh, you're skinny enough, or oh, you're not a 10-time baby mama, so you're the best black woman on the planet. Right? A lot of the times, they are waiting for the validation. So when it doesn't come, when the acceptance doesn't come, when the acknowledgement doesn't come, it often feels devastating. Okay? Let us continue. um, Mammy intervention, breaking the pattern. Breaking a woman from the cycle of being a mammy is not an easy thing to do. If a woman does not recognize her actions are detrimental to herself and other women, she will not understand the epistemology that proves being a mammy to be anti woman. There are very few things you could do as a friend or family member to break the cycle of being a mammy. But you can ask, who protects you? Realize that love doesn't require suffering. And name your pattern, set boundaries, and shift focus inward. Right? This is essentially the way to do it. The only way to break free from this is to actually confront it, to understand that aiming is not a beneficial thing, but it has to be something that the individual who engages in mammy behavior wants to do themselves. You can't force somebody to see their mindsets and their actions as male centered and mammy like, right? You probably couldn't conceptualize this for this woman. If you told her, hey, the fact that you're going and fighting the wife versus pushing that man to divorce his wife and be with you since you're who he claims to love, right? That's the mistake you're making here. In her head, she's gonna be like, "Oh no, that woman sucks. I hate her." Da, 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 da. You won't be able to convince her that the problem is not her or the other woman. She will always think the woman is the problem because that's how she's been socialized. The man probably goes and tells her, "Oh, she's not letting me because she don't want to sign the divorce papers." I have this issue with my sister. It's so hard when people close to you fall into these mindsets because how do you tell someone you love, like, hey, that mindset is not good for you, especially when they're heavily invested. They got let's say they have a partner, they have children. They're going to be heavily, heavily invested in their mindset. They're not going to understand, hey, you don't have to necessarily see it that way. You don't have to sacrifice yourself for a man. You can wait until you find a better situation, a better outcome. It's difficult because your family is always going to see it as an attack. They're not going to understand what you're trying to say. So let's go back here. All right. So this book is not just a mirror, it's a map. And now that you've seen the signs, it's time to dig deeper. Let's explore the origins of this mindset in chapter 2, the cult of mammying and why we must break free. Mamming is more than a behavior, it's a deeply ingrained cultural condition. Passed down through generations, it's taught at home, reinforced by entertainment, distorted religious interpretations, institutional racism, patriarchy, and good old fashioned fear. I'm going to stop here. Like, when it comes to entertainment, this is a big part that I think that we have a hold of, right? Growing pasta says, I'm always being told that I am the hater because I am single. It's stressful and draining. Honestly, they'll say that, they'll call you a hater, but the struggle that some women go through when they're in these relationships that they want to brag on, it's not worth it. 9 times out of 10, as a single person, you're living the better and the more peaceful life. All right. But it's passed down through generations and it's reinforced by entertainment. I think a lot of the entertainment that Black people specifically intake, it does promote this mindset of mammying, this mindset of putting men and their needs above women. Right? That's definitely something that I think entertainment does, whether it's the music where they specifically uplift more Eurocentric standards, um, where they condition Black women to essentially, literally compare themselves to women who are not even phenotypically Black. Um, Cecil Maris Side says, both of my sisters are like this. One has a husband who won't work, and the other makes excuses for our brother being a deadbeat and a manipulator. Yeah, it's really sad because on the one hand, you understand like why that person wants to see better in the person, right? It's their family member, it's their spouse, but I think it's that ability to neglect everything that you're seeing in front of you and just continue to enable the behavior. That's the problem. Because okay, your husband don't work, encourage him to work. Not that I would ever get with an unemployed bandit myself, but I'm just saying, like, if he don't work, encourage him to work, right? If he's not doing um, the things that he's supposed to do, and you're not at least trying to encourage that he do that, then you're getting caught in this mammy mindset. You don't think that you have to encourage that. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna put you on a quick pause.
Florabella on my screen. Her smile, it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene. In the morning or the night, recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong.
All right, sorry about that quick little intermission. I had to answer the door real quick. But yeah, it's really sad because a lot of the times that family member who isn't able to see, that person for what it is and who they are and what they're doing, they're being taken advantage of as well, right? That family member is being manipulated as well. They just don't see it. Um, yeah, you get burnt out. I don't understand how people can really do it like forever for every like black male that they know and just continuously allow the degenerate. It's crazy. It would be exhausting trying to defend a sibling or partner who was doing the wrong things. I don't understand why people even put energy into it. All right, so let me see. We're back on the book here, and all right. So all women, regardless of weight, race, face social pressure to serve and self-abandon. But for Black women, that pressure is doubled and drenched in shame. In our communities, it's often impossible to survive, let alone be celebrated, unless we bow to the exhausting role, unless we make ourselves small. Meanwhile, the Black manosphere continues its crusade, blaming the struggles of the Black community on the backs of its women. That's the main thing they do now, right? There's so many men we're already degenerate, who now, those same degenerates want to make excuses. They want to blame women and the sacrifices that the women in the community have made for why they haven't um, why they haven't been able to be men in the first place. So the point to our success are they point to our success, which is our degrees, our ambition, our refusal to settle, and call it betrayal. Right? They call choosing a black woman choosing yourself and not choosing not to mammy, choosing not to put the needs of men before your own. They call it choosing the white man. They often liken black women to the situations of like Emmett Till and stuff like that, right? They'll act like we're the new white supremacists, which is really ironic, right? Very ironic. And let's not forget the bedtime fable they repeat in barbershops and podcasts. Black women choose welfare over keeping fathers in the home. From childhood, we are fed this narrative. Black men are victims of a racist system, and we are their designated healers, right? We're the one that is supposed to build and uplift and straighten the crown of black men and get them to understand that they are kings and they just have to be the kings that they're meant to be. Right? That's the narrative, right? We're taught to see them as helpless kings and ourselves as their tireless builders. But if we are always pouring into them, who pours into us? Where does that leave us in the pecking order? Where does it leave our children, our daughters, our romantic lives, and our peace? So many black women today are thriving, educated, healed, ready. All they want is a partner who's actually compatible. But that's where the gaslighting kicks in. For us, compatible is expected to mean any black man, regardless of character, ambition, or alignment, right? This is what we see now. It's a mass exodus of unaccomplished bandits who want women who've succeeded, who've reached new heights, right? Who've built legacies and financial liberation for themselves. They want them to settle for any old bandit, right? A black woman can be a neurosurgeon and still she'll be told she's bougie for not dating the man working checkout at Dollar Tree, right? Or for not having a house husband, right? We are expected to be virgins until marriage, to accept shame if we bear children without a husband, to request nothing from absent fathers, lest we be seen as greedy. And you know what's interesting about this one that I heard from a content creator recently, right? To accept shame if we bear children without a husband, right? That means our literal ability to bring life into the world. We will shame that if it's not attached to a man. That's the core issue with MAMMY, right? Where everything is centered and revolved around the understanding and the beliefs of men. This is where that idea where women will not want to put men on child support, even when he's not financially supporting at all, right? They'll be like, oh, well, he's giving $10, so that's enough. He's giving me $45 a week. That's better than nothing. It helps, right? That's all he can do. At least they have a father. I'll buy everything else as long as he shows up. And yet these same men applaud simply um, for having black skin and male parts. This madness only continues because some women keep co-signing it. We excuse it, we enable it, we protect it, but it's time to divest. Our realities can change, and they will once we shift our mindset. A better life is within reach. And I love that Nyla um, sees a positive outlook. I often find that mammies are very set in their ways, kind of like an old person. They're not willing to change. They're not willing to see the other side. I've had conversations with mammies, and I'm saying this not to insult anybody, but I've had conversations with mammies where I simply am trying to acknowledge the other side, and they begin getting angry. I remember one time I was arguing with a particular mammy, who she is male. She is red pill stamped. Like now she's like the red pill cheerleader. She's in all the thumbnails. This mammy got mad at me because I said that women should have welfare. They should have those resources to help them, especially if the dad is choosing not to be present or he don't work and have what he needs. This woman got mad at me. I'm telling you, cussed me out like a dog in the street for saying that. Why would we get rid of welfare? I mean, like, the degree that to which women start to get irritated when other women don't also let down their standards to accept the mediocrity of bandits is crazy, and it's something internal. That's why you will see hyper where you'll see people like Gabrielle Union, where she married a multi-millionaire who was still letting her split the bills with him. I don't care if he said that she was doing it out of out of her own necessity. He could have easily been putting that money she was sending him aside for bills or whatever, found a way to like give that money back to her, because it's like you're her man, you're a multi-millionaire, and she's splitting bills with you of the little money she makes compared to you. Like, it's crazy. It's insane. But that's not just concentrated to Gabrielle Union. There are everyday people who have these same mindsets. Um, so I applaud Nyla for being positive and saying like you can change too. Like, you don't have to be a mammy. This is something you can evolve out of. Um, but it is something that people excuse, they enable, and they protect. Think about how many bandits you guys see online over here, that there's a lot of people co-signing them, that financially support, who watch, who are privy to what they are and what they do, who are still gonna show up for them. They know. Brother Polite, people know who he is and what he's done, and they were still running behind to support him. Right? All other degenerates on here, people still run behind them and support them regardless of what they know about them, because that's just what the community is about. That's what people encourage. So I'm gonna say that I do think it's impressive that Nyla is still positing like that it's possible for people to change and change their mindsets. I do think you can evolve from being a mammy, but sometimes I'd be wondering, like, I don't know, some people are too far gone. Our realities can change, and they will once we shift our mindset. A better life is within reach. Healthier relationships are possible, but first we must identify the programming, the performance, the lies. In this book, you may recognize your mother, your sister, your best friend, your auntie, or maybe even yourself. That's okay. That's the point. Move with love, move with clarity, and most importantly, move forward. Right? It's important to understand that some of us, we might recognize, like, there's certain mindsets that I recognize from a younger self of mine, where I'm just like, damn, back in the day, I would have really been like upset, or I would have had a problem with what was being said. Whereas once I've learned and I understood a lot of things, I'm just kind of like, okay, I see. I can peep it now, but I definitely would have been going at a younger age or with a different mindset at a different time. So it's important to be humble. All right. So the mammy mindset is not just about action; it's about identity. It is a belief system rooted in survival, programmed by oppression, and passed down like a family heirloom. It convinces women that their worth is measured by what they can give, endure, or fix in a man. This chapter explores why so many Black women inherit this mindset and why it remains so hard to break. So the core traits of the man mindset are prioritizing others over self, viewing love as duty or sacrifice, right? So they don't view love. I showed you guys a little while ago, and I might come back and do another video about love and how it's transformed over time, right? Eventually, it started out as a contract between man and woman to transfer wealth and legacy, right? And then it evolved into courtship and things like that. And then it went from courtship to like, or not courtship. It evolved into like what it was, where like you would literally pick your husband, like your family would pick your husband, like arranged marriages, and then it became what it is today, which is romantic love, right? Finding somebody that you have something in common with, you share beliefs about partnership and children and family, things like that, right? That has been an evolution over time. But if you just view love as duty or sacrifice, meaning like it's something you have to do as a woman if you get with a man or if you have a family, right? That's the core problem. There's a deep fear of abandonment or rejection by men, right? So the reason why you often find that they'll be desperate and act in these ways is because they don't want to be rejected by men. They want to be validated by men. So the emotional origins of this are fear of abandonment or rejection, desire to feel useful, needed, or validated, shame around anger, boundaries, or independence. So that's people who've likely been had negative consequences for having, expressing anger, for having boundaries or being independent as a woman, trauma bonding with abusive partners or authority figures, right? So this is where those situations where they were with an abusive partner, things got so enmeshed and mingles that their mindset, um, became corrupted. Hey, Char Willies, they said greetings, greetings, greetings to you. Thank you for joining me here today. Empress says absolutely. All right, let's continue. Cultural and historical factors. Enslaved black women were rewarded for loyalty to the master and punished for rebellion. Post slavery, black women were expected to carry both racial and gender burdens. The media, strong black women tropes encouraged sacrifice without support. In church culture, they glorify suffering, submission, and female martyrdom. Right? It's kind of messed up when you realize how much influences and different pulls and parts of society are actually actively working to manipulate the mindset of black women, make them think that they owe something, that they have to behave in a certain way. All right. Pop culture references. And also, I'm going to say something about the church. They just love to glorify suffering. I don't think there's anything to glorify about suffering. I think that suffering is something that we should uh, avoid at all costs. So if that's something that they believe is a rite of passage, of faith, of religion, then there's an issue there, right? So some pop culture references is the subtle encouragement of patience over confrontation, right? So allowing people to run over you, right? Turning the other cheek, not having boundaries when people are being disrespectful. Destiny's Child's lyrics cater to you as an anthem for self-sacrifice. Now that I think about it, like that really is a bad one. Like let me let me put this up here. Cater to you lyrics, because listen, baby, I see you working hard. Want to let you know I'm proud. Let you know that I admire what you do. Don't know if I need you to reassure. Don't know if I need to reassure you. My life would be purposeless without you. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that's a saying that should be reserved for your children, right? I think if you have children, you could say, like, my life would have no purpose without you, because that's your children. You essentially chose to bring it into your life. But a man, I don't know, something weird about it. All right. So the next lyrics is, if I wanted, I got it. When I ask, you provide it. You inspire me to be better. You challenge me for the better. Sit back and let me pour out my love letter. Let me take off your shoes. Untie your shoestring. So she's playing literal mammy, right, to the man in this song, right? Because he protects and provides, I guess, which is supposed to be duty, she's going to be waiting on him hand and feet. It's giving, I am nothing without you. You are my everything. I am your servant. I am here to please you in all. Yeah, that's essentially what the song gave me. And Empress, all the time, like, when I was younger, listening to some of these lyrics, yeah, it was about all the notes that were being hit and all that. But if you think about what's really being said, like, it's kind of saying, like, oh, well, if you're a man and you provide everything, then I should be willing to cater to you, right? I should be willing to wait on you, hand and feet, untie your shoestrings, take off your cufflings. Do you want to eat, boo? Let me feed you. Let me run your bath water. Whatever you desire, I will supply for you, right? I'll sing you a song. I'll turn the game on. I'll brush your hair, help you put your do-rag on. Does that sound like what you do for a baby? That sounds like you're getting a baby ready for bed. It doesn't even sound like a relationship. It sounds like the woman is infantilizing a man, right? Want a foot rub? Do you want a manicure? Baby, I'm yours. I want to cater to you. And she's saying all of this simply because if she asks the man for something, he does it. All right. So she says, let me cater to you because, baby, this is your day. I'll do anything for my man. You blow me away. I got your slippers, your dinner, your dessert, and so much more. I mean, when you talk about mammy, and I'm not like, this is literally catering to a man like a slave. And this is what men really expect out of women. This type of music doesn't. This is why they want submission. Yeah, this type of music is not. This is not a good message to send out there, you know. And then we have, of course, "Dangerously in Love." Beyonce is a queen of toxic lyrics. Okay, so Empress was saying, "It's giving. I am nothing without you. You are my everything." This is what this song gives for me. "Dangerously in Love," right? She says, "My happiest moments weren't complete if you weren't by my side. You're my relation and connection to the sun. You're next to me. There's no darkness I can't overcome. You are my raindrops. I am the sea. You and God, who's my sunlight. I'm blooming, grown so beautifully." She's literally putting the man side by side with God. Is this catered to you by Destiny Child? We were just listening. We were just reading "Catered to You." This one is "Dangerously in Love." Like, think about the programming, the wording that's being used. Like, it's so, ew, I don't like it. You and God, who's my sunlight? Right? Which one is more powerful in your life? In my life, you or God? That's crazy. I am in love with you. You set me free. I can't do this thing called life without you here with me because I'm dangerously in love with you. I'll never leave. Just keep loving me the way you're loving me. I mean, loving me the way I love you, loving me. I can't do this thing called life without you. I mean, never mind. Just imagine the Brandy concert tour that's going on. Listen, I'm just saying, like, the music is subtle programming. Like, a lot of times we don't realize um, how we internalize some of this music, but this is like, these were like bangers. These are stuff people were listening to all up and through the summer night. You know, Brandy and Monica was an infamous. Um, all of her albums are about her submitting to her husband. Yeah, and then she comes out with Lemonade, and she's like, "She don't love me like I love you," and she's like smashing things, and poor Beyonce. No, I'm not even gonna lie though. Beyonce has definitely she's had a strong musical career, but her music, just like a lot of women in music, especially um, like in oh, here's a classic. Here's an old Mammy's Tale. She was ringing that alarm. Oh yeah, that too. Yep. Hold on, I'm gonna play a classic Mammy Tale for you guys. All right. And we know, right? We know the music is a figure of speech. But imagine if, like, and then you go to, like, okay, then, so we say this is a figure of speech, but then we go to the lyrics that you hear in men's music, and it's like the complete opposite. You don't hear them saying, like, "Oh, love this woman to death, provide everything you can for her, work until you can't do nothing, work until you ain't got no needs left, and she has everything she wants and needs, and is smiling from ear to ear all day, all night." You don't hear that though in their music. But in women's music, you do sort of have this. But this is Etta James, "I'd Rather Go Blind." Okay? So something told me it was over. When I saw you and her talking, something deep down in my soul said, "Cry, girl." When I saw you in that girl walking around. Ooh, I would rather go blind than to see you walk away from me. I love you so much that I don't want to watch you leave me, baby. That type of music stopped in like the 70s. What type of music? You mean the music where men actually talked about like oh, I want to do everything for you and I want to, provide for you and all that. Yeah, that music is long gone if it ever existed for real. Because even if you go back to like some of the R&B music that we thought was so good, or at least that I thought was so good, being a cusp millennial, almost Gen Zer, even the music that we thought was so good back in the day, the lyrics are pretty iffy as well. Yeah, that's an old. Yeah, Etta James is old school, but this is where it started. I mean, the blues is where this all started. You know, if you heard some of the lyrics in blues, it was crazy. All right, let's go back to the book. I'm gonna go ahead and share. And I think we might end up having to do multiple streams for this, guys, because honestly, I don't want to be on here that long anymore. Because I find that when it comes to like replay value, the videos are better when they're less than like 2 to 3 hours. So we're gonna review a little bit more, and then on the next review, I'm going to come in and do the chapters. We kind of done the introduction, right? Like, what is the mammy? Where does it come from? Right? And we got to this point of pop culture references. There is a lot of pop culture references, if you guys haven't noticed. There's a lot of there's a lot of black music in the culture that is very, very toxic and harmful. Like the messages for women are very self-sacrificing and self-defeating. Like they're not positive messaging. They're not meant to uplift black women. Um, Sorry, guys. I can only think of 2 songs from men that cater to women. Oh yeah, it's few and far between, and even the ones that cater to women, like you sort of hear that it's in a self-serving way. Like they'll be like, "Oh, you did everything for me. You let me cheat. You let me steal, rob, kill. Like you let me do everything." I can only think of 2 songs from men that cater to women. Anniversary by Tony 2020. I love that song. And As Soon as I Get Home from Work by Babyface. Yeah, those are like few and far between. Like I said, even the music today doesn't really it's really not what do you call it? Even when they supposedly are like talking about what they're gonna do for a woman, like how they want to provide for them, it's in a very materialistic way. Like you'll hear these bandits in their rap music today talking about, oh, I'll buy you everything, I'll buy you Birkin, I'll buy you sorry, I can't even pretend to know what they be saying, but I will. They'll talk about it like, oh, I'll buy you new bags, I'll buy you new weave, I'll buy you new shoes, and da 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 da. So, hold on, guys.
Battles got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feed, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolve, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong in the
All right, sorry about that, guys. But yes, there's a lot of pop culture references, and especially the music and the shows. Like we have a lot of shows, love and hip hop and things like that. Now, where there are a lot of different couples and things who, like, first of all, the whole couple goals breakdown in the community where we had the Will and Jada, the Remy Ma and Papoose, like all these people that everyone looked up to in the black community as being like these perfect relationships, who really beneath the surface they were all these terrible situations for those people involved. We have the situation, I forgot who was talking about it recently, where she was like, besides so many even through so many like cheating scandals, she's still claiming that she's in a happy marriage. Like there's so many like those today. A lot of pop culture references. All right, so I'm going to do a few more minutes, guys. I really don't want to get to 2 hours because that diminishes the ability for this to have replay value. to get people back in the video after the stream. And also, I want to make sure that I'm breaking this down in a very thorough way. And I've only gotten through 2 chapters. We got an hour and 44 minutes in. So let me do a little bit more, and then I'll send you guys off, and we'll come back and do chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Those are the ones I really want to get into. All right, so social media reinforcements. Social media trends reward women for holding a man down, shaming women who leave unhealthy relationships. Pressure, and that's a big one too. That's a really, really big one that you'll see. A lot of the times, if women leave a marriage or situation, um, and the man is, even if it's a situation where she's taking the children away because there's things that she's not mentioning. For example, Tiana Taylor, we know that one. She was pretending like she had the most perfect marriage. Oh, it's an open situation and it's okay. He's not cheating on me. I agreed to this. And then boom, we see her getting divorced. Right? As soon as she divorced him, they were like, oh, we don't know what was going on in their situation. They were making excuses for Iman, airing her out and try to come at her crazy. All right. We have pressure from family and community to forgive and remain loyal to no matter the harm. I bet you situations and people like Tiana Taylor have been encouraged to just stay with their partner because you have children, you have a family, you have black love, you have something to hold on to. Similar to Will and Jada, I bet you they're together out of duty, out of the amount of time they've already been together. There's a misuse of spirituality to justify emotional neglect, right? There's this idea that we are actually giving to God when we give ourselves to men. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I just clicked that. He just came up on my recommended. All right, why it persists. It's socially rewarded even when it's personally destructive. It gives women a sense of purpose and identity. To some extent, men know that they do have to pretend like they validate or value women when they're being mammies, right? That's why women keep doing it because they do feel seen, even if it's only for a split second. It feels safer than risking rejection or starting over, right? They're in this toxic situation. Sometimes the control of the situation and being able to control the circumstances, it's better than having nothing, right? Better than being alone. It's so normalized, many don't know there's another way. I think this was apparent, especially apparent with the Meg situation, right? We're so accustomed to violence and violent threats in relationships that him literally shooting at her, even if the bullet ricocheted off the ground, it hit her. People are so hung up on that and saying, oh, he didn't do nothing to her. She didn't have to call the police. Why would she get him in trouble? Right? It feels safer sorry. It's so normalized. Many don't know there's another way. There's this belief in the community that people actually think that this is just the way to be, right? Women and men argue. Women and men get aggressive when they argue. Men are going to physically dominate women if they have disagreements. Some of this stuff has been normalized. So on this page, she says, we have entered into an era where men are increasingly threatened by the fact that women are wising up to their behavior. Yet despite the awareness, a social hierarchy still thrives, one that values married women at the top. In this system, women are even taught to disqualify each other based on marital status. If you aren't chosen, then something must be wrong with you. But here's the hard truth. Men are the ones holding the card when it comes to marriage. In the Black community, especially where marriage rates are statistically the lowest, blaming women for not being married is not just ignorant, it's abusive, right? Yes, because regardless if women are the ones carrying the community, men still have to propose. They still have to be the ones to make a woman, to make her an honest woman. That's something we hear a lot, right? That term. But they have to initiate the marriage. Women don't generally initiate it, and when we do see women initiating it, it's cringy. To add insult to injury, religious indoctrination plays a significant role. Women are taught to pray for men who mistreat them. They're told that if they remain faithful, obedient, and long-suffering, God will eventually turn it around. Right? They're not supposed to leave and seek better when men are doing them wrong. They're supposed to continuously give chances. Right? What that really means is your man can be a liar, cheater, abuser, or emotional void, and your job as a good woman is to pray him through it. But let's be honest, most of them can never change. And when they finally do, it's often because their bodies are failing, their money is gone, and they're on dialysis with 5 years left to live. No, no. I'm sorry. The dialysis threw me off. Um, but congratulations, sis. He's finally come back to you in the Lord, and your reward, you're exhausted. You've worked yourself to the bone. Your health is failing. You've aged under the weight of it all. Depression lives at the root of your scalp. Your glow is gone. But the church and your community will say, you did right. You saved him. You were faithful, and now you can grow old and pass with your geriatric husband in Jesus. That's not deliverance. That's emotional death dressed as devotion, right? Because it's going to be a self draining process. It's going to be a blood sucking process that is essentially something you're doing to yourself. A woman who stays with a cheating partner for the kids while losing herself. These are real life situations. Women who attack other women online for holding men accountable. Right? These are women who you'll see they seem so invested in these men and protecting them. Families who defend abusive fathers and uncles and shame the daughter for speaking up. Women who fund, shelter, and defund unemployed or abusive partners. Lord have mercy. Women who serve as healers for broken men. Consequences of being a mammy. Lack of reciprocation. Emotional exhaustion. Reinforcement of patriarchal power structures. And then here's the intervention. Ask who taught you that suffering is love? Realize that you are not disloyal for choosing peace, right? It's not inherent in a woman to choose whatever situation benefits a man first. If you're losing peace for that situation, it's not worth it. Action. Detach from roles that require self erasure. Redefine what strength means to you. Final words. The mammy mindset is heavy, but it is not hereditary. You can break it. You can leave it behind. And in the next chapter, you'll meet the different forms this mindset takes, each one a mirror in a warning. All right, so we're going to get into chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10 later tomorrow. Guys, I really don't want to do this book in injustice. It's so thorough, as you guys can see. It's so detailed. It's so in depth. And it really clarifies the concept of a mammy. You know, I really do think that a lot of mammies, especially digital mammies, have been sort of gaslighting when we use the term mammy. They'll say, well, are you using a post-racial term? Are you using a pre-racial term? Are you using a slave term against black women, against black people? You're using white talking points to harm black people. This is what they'll do, right? So we'll make sure that we go into chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10, super in depth. Again, I'm just going to scroll back so you guys know what those chapters are going to be on, because we're really going to get into it. But those chapters are the MAMMY taxonomy, so breaking down what the types are. We're going to get into the overt mammy, the covert mammy, the malignant mammy, which is the attack dog, and the financial mammy, who is the super chat sponsor. All right, so hopefully you guys will tune in for the next one, and hopefully you enjoyed this. On the next one, again, I'm going to also have way more examples in digital form, so it'll be a little less read heavy. But guys, this is a book, right? We're here to read. So hopefully those of you who are watching are interested in reading the book. Make sure you check the description of this video in like 20 minutes. All right, I'm going to make sure that I have the description in the link in the description of the video, and I'm also going to schedule the show for tomorrow, because we are going to finish the review of the chapters that I'm going to talk about on my channel, and then also I will refer you guys to that book so that you can actually read it for yourselves, break it down for yourselves, take notes, and do all of that. It's a really good read. I'm telling you guys, everything that you hear in the book puts a name to exactly what mammy is, and that's really important. I just definitely will be here for the next one. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Ase says, great show, Flora. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate you guys for coming here. You guys know that I really respect this body of work. So the next one, we're going to deep dive into all of what the concepts of a mammy is and all of that, and really break it down so nobody can say that that is a gaslighting term any longer. All right. Miss Buckeye is waving. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I'm going to send you guys off with some music, and I will see you on the next one. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Florabella on my screen. Her smile it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene. In the morning or the night, recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora. She's got that power. Spreading her aura. Blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora. She's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora. She's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora. She's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong.
Battles got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feed, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. From the garden green to the concrete wall, Florabella, unstoppable nature's child. Leaves whisper secrets, she's the loudest shout. From the channel buzzing, she never backs out. Seed of strength, through seasons she grows. In the face of doubt, her spirit glows. Cameras ain't a limit, she branches out. Thorns in her crown, she wears it no doubt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless.